Morning, Nima. Good morning, HerLens family. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. I hope we're doing good.
We
Today
missed
is 7
yesterday.
2022.
Yes, it is.
Today is a
It
unique
is.
date.
It is. It's also Nima's brother's birthday today. We celebrated him in the morning, and again, we're saying happy birthday to him as well. Have you been? How was the? Is it symposium? I've been training. Where did you go, Susan? Again?
I had to be at work. I had to be at work because we are preparing, core members will be passing out on Thursday. We have
Okay.
our POP, so we have to prepare ahead, and we have a staff workshop next week. So I just needed to report at work yesterday morning. And if you know Abuja Nasarawa route, there's construction going on. So the dust, the traffic, everything, but I'm glad I went to work. That was just it.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Bookie's back. Hi, Bookie.
Yes, I am back. Praise God. I think it was
Bookie's such a
I
trashy
think it was
lady.
the network. So I had to change my the source. In life you have option A, option B.
You do, yes, yes, I
Yeah.
can relate.
So good morning, everybody. Susan, good morning. Nima, good morning. And then Fumi, this one, wear your glasses now. Wear your glasses. This one, where they
It's
put
yeah,
your eye.
oh.
You,
And my
you, you,
yes,
you dey
and my
do
eyes
your eye.
see me.
I
I'm
see,
trying
I
to
see
be a
your eye
fine
won't
girl.
choke me. I see with your eye won't choke me.
Yes, I'm trying to be a fine girl today, but do I want to sacrifice fine girl on the altar of my
Okay,
eyes?
so Alan's family, good morning, and how are we doing? Yeah.
All right, we are just going to get straight into it. Lawmakers need to make it mandatory that politicians' children school in Nigeria. The first question is that lawmakers, the politicians, are they not the same? I think what he probably meant to say is the constitution, it should be in the constitution that whether politicians or whether lawmakers or all of them all together, their children should school in Nigeria. And interestingly, I remember that back in the day, my mom used to tell me this all the time. She went to school with kids of politicians back then, right? So I'm not sure what, no, I'm very, very sure the education sector began to deteriorate and politicians and lawmakers figured, you know what? Yeah, let's get our children out, because back then it was a thing of pride to go to the unity schools. You hear them say, oh, I went to federal government clinical, or I'm an old boy of this, I'm an old boy of that, things like that. But now we don't have that anymore. Instead, our kids are going out of the country to study. Our politicians are also sending their children out of the country to study. But I'm just going to dive right into it. Bookie, is this a yay or a nay for you? Because if they are forced to study in Nigeria, wouldn't you say like maybe our education sector will be better? Same with our health sector. This is not just for the health sector, because those sectors, they are going through the worst right now. But yeah, go ahead, Bookie.
This is my own perspective. You are free to send your children to wherever you want to send them,
Mhm.
as long as you have the means, you have the resources, and you are not stealing. You are not stealing. Because somewhere along the line, nemesis will catch up. There is no way. God is a just God. He does not like injustice. So when you use people's money that you're supposed to use to make impact, and you corner it and you use that to develop, your own family or whatever it is, nemesis will catch up with you. But I don't want to go there now, because that's not the core of the issue, but I'm going somewhere. I have laid it out that as long as you have the means and the resources, and it's a desire that you want, you are free to send your children. However, the reason why people are saying this is because they feel that, okay, if they promulgate a bill that if you must take an elective office, right, let your own children stay here and read. Why? Because look at the educational system, particularly the public sector, because the public sector is to serve the public. Look at how dilapidated the structures are, the welfare, the curriculum, how they go about everything. It is not in those days, we talk about the Awolowo system and all that, the likes of the people that are ruling now. I remember when Dr. Tomori was saying that, thank God that Awolowo did free education. They had good teachers at that time. A primary school person, when you hear what that one is saying, it's different from what a primary school person now is saying. And that is why people are saying, no, let us give them that run. Let's make a bill that if you are going for an elective office, your children must stay here. It is because of the way they have run it. My own philosophy is, can we begin to change the way we love ourselves? Whereby, if you are in an elective office and your duty is to see to the educational system, can you do it? Either your child goes there or your child does not go there, because the child that is going there is someone else's child. And you took the ballot box and you asked people to come and vote for you. So you should be serviceable. Honestly, if we stretch it too far to say, okay, anybody, your elective, your children who must come to school and blah, 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 blah. How many of them do you want to police? How many of them do you want to police? What if they send their children and then, of course, they bring their cousins? Shebi is the same name, except if you now begin to do investigation. How many laws have we promulgated to say, okay, if you do not bring your children to study, we will do this, even when there are laws? Do you understand? Don't people go around it? For me, I think we need to major on the key issues. Can we hold them accountable such that even their own children, for those who probably want to, those who can talk, to say, you know what, but the system is good, you are doing so well, why won't you allow me to stay back? However, if the mountain does not go to Muhammad, like we say, Muhammad will go to the mountain. If that is how we will start that crusade, then I will go for it. You understand? If that's how we will start it, then we'll go for it, to say, you know what, particularly if Commissioner for Education, Minister for Education, anybody that is around education, we might not really open it up, because is their right. If I have the money and I'm not stealing it, and I want my daughter or my child to go somewhere else, it won't stop me. After all, we know some schools that their own children went to a different school. But I also know some principals, and I know Susan will attest to that. If Unabo is here, I know some principals that their children went to the school they established.
Mm-hmm.
My own children, their primary school, they were in the same class with the children of the owner.
Owner of the school.
And that was what moved me to take my daughter there.
Mm-hmm.
And my
You
children.
can't give what you don't have.
Exactly. It moved because I did a bit of research. And when she said, look, my own children are here. If I will have a secondary school, they will go there too. Because why? I will make sure the standard is good. And that's why I said, if it takes us to go this route, the end justifies the means now. Is that not what we say? If that is what we need to ensure that our educational system is good, then I go for it. by all means. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Ibn Abba, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, beautiful ladies. I can see all the beautiful ladies. They are well on board. Lady Olufumi J, Lady Buki Efe, Lady Susan, Lady Nima, and all the ladies and gentlemen listening. Good morning. It's great to be here. Thank you.
All right. We've been talking about a particular actor had said that that lawmakers should ensure that politicians make sure there's children's school in Nigeria. I said lawmakers and politicians are both the same thing. They are one and the same, to be honest. So it should be in the constitution. So Ibn Abba, just beg your pardon. We can just finish making her submission. Susan, what say you? You see, when I see secondary school owners or primary school owners have children that do not study in the same school, I worry, because I'm like, there's a popular university in Nigeria. I'm trying to recall if the man's children, when they went to another one abroad. I think maybe the last one went. I can't recall, and I don't want to quote it wrongly. But I find it a bit suspicious, because it's like I'm selling food and I don't eat the food that I'm selling. I'm going somewhere else to buy. But as an educationist, what has been your experience with this so far? Because it's one thing to say, oh, we're looking at politicians, they should also use the facilities or the infrastructure that we have in Nigeria, but we're not also talking about citizens that have this and are not using it. Yes, go ahead.
For me, I absolutely agree with you. And like Mam Fumi said, Mam Buki, I beg your pardon. Yes, I have seen even teachers whose children are in the school, they teach. I mean, you are part of the system. So where else would you even be able to monitor your kids? But like I would always say, there are always two sides to a conversation.
Yeah.
We would always have the pros and the cons. Now, I like the fact that this particular conversation will build our confidence in the education system if we have our leaders, allow their children go to the schools that we have here. Well, I also know that another thing would be that it will create accountability for me. When when children of politicians attend schools here, there will be this motivation to improve the infrastructure. The other day, we're talking about toilets and all of that. Maybe if their children go home and tell them how dirty, how this and that, it will move them. Let's be honest, it will move them to look at how to even improve. Even when a child tells you, Daddy, my teacher is not looking good, Mommy, my teacher is not. You will look at the welfare of these teachers, you look at the security level, because your driver is driving in and there's no security at the gate. And then if you are someone who has maybe a caregiver, a nanny, whatever, you would even be able to monitor the learning outcomes of your children. I mean, Fumi, the other day you were talking about you going through your child's homework or something like that. And if you even have that bond with your children, it will also tell you what they are doing in school. More importantly, I'm a gender person. I will always bring in the equality aspect of it. It brings everybody on board. Whether you don't have, everybody, we are just here to learn. It's not about anything. It's just about having both the children of citizens and the people who are highly placed, you understand, in the same facility. And it will also help, families who are influential to invest in our own schools. Look at the kind of money that they invest to send their children abroad. Even citizens who are not politicians, in all fairness, send their children abroad to study. It doesn't stop with politicians, So I know that all of these things, it will also help us. Another important thing I think it will help us is it will reduce the perception around double standards. Because, I mean, we often criticize our leaders and we urge people to believe in Nigeria. So why are we sending our children abroad? That is the truth. So we have to look at all the sides. But on the other hand, like what Manfumi talked about, parents have the right to choose. Whether you're a politician, you're a
Very true.
citizen, I mean, you are sending your child to any school for many reasons. It could be because you want them to further there, maybe get a job, maybe this, maybe that. I mean, it's you have the fundamental human right to decide wherever you want your child to study. For me, you will also agree with me. I have been a teacher. I have been a student myself, that not all Nigerian schools are the same.
Oh yeah.
Let us say it as it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
all schools are the same. We're looking at government schools. Are they fantastic? Yes. I taught in one. We have private schools. We have other highly placed schools, with different curricula that they use. So we also know that they are not the same. And so some people want specialized programs, specialized facilities, or even opportunities that they know their children can enjoy when they send them abroad. Now, for me, I also think that another angle to it might be the fact that the issue is not really a system quality for me. It's about your choice as an individual. If I have what it takes, I can decide to go wherever. But then the issue should not just be focused on fixing our educational system.
Very true.
That is me. We should, or maybe looking at where I think I'm confusing it now. We should focus on strengthening our educational system rather than policing where people decide to send their children. It's not restricted to politicians. There are people who are not politicians and all their children did not study here in the country.
Yeah.
And then I also understand the fact that there's that global exposure, my dear sister. You have the global exposure for your children who go abroad to study, whether they are children of politicians or not, because it provides you with international networks, diverse perspectives, and certain skill sets that you might also need to improve yourself. So, in as much as I understand that some people have unique educational needs, I've also seen people from the community I represent, the community of persons with disabilities, because of their unique educational needs, which does not exist here, I must tell you, Fumi. Their parents need specialized support. I, Susan, can talk. I can do a lot of things independently. So many children with special needs depend solely on people for even feeding, every single thing. So their parents find a way and send them abroad. And so for me, so that Mami Binabo can also wedge in, I want to tell you that this debate is ultimately about trust and leadership. You can decide to send your child anywhere. Even before now, people have been sending their children, whether politicians, abroad. You understand? Every parent has the right to seek the best for their child.
Yes.
So just like leaders, citizens can also demonstrate confidence in the structure, whether you want it here or abroad. The challenge is not where politicians educate their children, but how do we begin to look at building an educational system that every Nigerian, regardless of status, for me, regardless of status, would be proud to choose where they want. If I want to study here, let me be proud enough to study here. And if I decide to study abroad, let me also be proud. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. Anybody can send their child anywhere, right? And if you check the 50s, as early as the 50s, the 40s, I mean, the first president, the first prime minister, what did I do my daughter's history? I'm trying to remember what we did in history. The first prime minister of Nigeria was, it was between Tafawa Balewa and Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was, and Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. I'm not sure.
Tafawa Balewa.
Thank you. And he studied abroad, right? So he studied in the UK. So it's not today. But if you recall, back then, I don't think it was a case of it was just a case of we had great diplomatic relations relationship with the breeds. I remember when we were going to America back then, so it wasn't a thing. But then our schools were also good because the same way we had some of these older gen schooling in Nigeria and going abroad somewhere in Nigeria, things like that. Going to University of Ibadan back then was a thing of pride because it was the first premier university in Nigeria, so it wasn't a thing. But right now, in Big 2026, but Nima, let's hear your thoughts before we head over to Ibn Abo.
Okay, so
Nima, you might want to take off your video because we cannot hear you. Hi, Nima. If you can hear me, turn off your video. We can't hear you, Nima.
Can you?
We cannot hear you, Nima. While Nima is
Now?
trying to hi, Nima.
Yes,
While she's trying to set
hear me.
while she's trying to set up her network, let's head over to Ibn Abo.
Okay,
Hi,
I'm
Ibn
coming.
Abo.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I want to say this. You see, for me, I listen to the ladies and I agree to some points and disagree to some points. If you want to gain admission into the university, nobody is forcing every secondary school leaver to attend to further their education in the university. You can choose to go and learn a trade and go somewhere and make your money. But if you want to gain admission into the university, there are requirements. There are general requirements, there are special requirements by certain universities. The requirement in some universities is that if you can combine 2 results and make your 5 credits and you meet up with the cutoff point, they would admit you. There are some universities that they don't want combination of results, they want just 1 result, and all your credits must be from that particular result, no combination. So you see, what am I even saying? What I'm saying is here, we are a product of our thinking process. I always say this. And one thing I'm trying to pull out from what that guy said is this. He didn't say everybody. He said politicians.
Yeah.
So if you're not a politician, it doesn't concern you. But if you're a politician, please, if there are requirements, you must meet the requirements. Different political parties sold their forms for different amounts of money. You cannot say because PDP sold their forms for 20 naira, so APC must sell their form for 20 naira. If APC chooses to sell their forms for 30 naira, if you don't like it, go and join PDP and go and buy their form. So what I'm saying is that there are requirements. And if it happens that your child or children must go in Nigeria to be qualified to come and contest for election, if there is anything like that, there's no problem. It doesn't take away your rights. You are the one that is working outside of your rights. If you cannot eat your cake and have it. If you don't want your children to school in Nigeria, then don't join politics. If such a rule exists, for example. Now, I also want to say that when you do not patronize a product, the quality or standard does not really concern you. If you do not patronize Nigerian schools, and I'm saying government-owned school, not when you say Nigerian schools, there are Ivy League schools in Nigeria.
There are actually. Yeah.
Favorably with the ones abroad. The difference will be the environment because you are going to drive from one street to get to that place. So for me, I think that he's talking about public schools. And I would always say that you will not appreciate something, or you'll not be bothered about it much if you don't use it. If you're not a consumer of that product, it will not necessarily bother you so much. That is why, and people have talked about revamping the sector, improve the sector, hey, over the years. And it seems as if not much is, I know that some governments to make, happen some level of changes and improvement and all of that. But if you look at it, if you give the panoramic view, it's like not much is being done. Now, we should be looking at, see, this is all about leadership. Because when we say politicians, who are the politicians? They're the lawmakers. And that was when for me, what I pulled out of that story was you're saying lawmakers should come up with a law.
Yeah.
Who are lawmakers?
Who are
You
the
have to
lawmakers?
before you become a lawmaker. A politician is elected into an office. That's how he becomes a lawmaker. So, and the politicians and lawmakers, they are brothers and sisters. So whatever affects the lawmaker affects the politician. So if a politician is not interested in coming up with such a law, then no lawmaker will support it because they are all politicians. So you see, you have to be a cook. I mean, you have to cook to be a cook. You have to teach to be a teacher. So if you're not part of something, you cannot feel the pulse of that thing as much as those who are part of it. So everything rise and falls on leadership. A nation without vision is a nation without a future. Leadership has always been the thread that weaves together the successes and failures of a people. So almost the most important part of your sector is the education sector. Educational sector must be taken with all or every, if there's any form of seriousness in you as a politician, as a lawmaker, the largest chunk of it should be invested in the educational sector.
Yeah.
Saying, because a doctor will go through school, a lawmaker will go through school. Everybody, for you to be on this program, we have gone through schools. Different layers of education we have had before we are on this program. So there is no gainsaying. The truth of the matter is leadership determines the pace and the pace of growth and the strength of institutions and the future of generations. So if we mess up our educational system, we mess up our future. If you mess up educational system, I don't know, even if you are grooming your children to go and study abroad so they can come back and begin to lead other people's children, I hope they will find the right people to lead. Leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is taking care of those in your charge. So if you want to send your children abroad, what about those who are in your charge? What education are they getting in this country? Once upon a time, some people from other African countries used to come to Nigeria to study in our universities.
Mm-hmm.
I recall those days, my sister had a friend who came in from Sierra Leone to study in University of Lagos.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them do you see again?
Now, yeah. I
used to see some certain set of people who used to come for special courses in Nigeria. Now they all troop to South Africa. So let's say go to Ghana. Ghana and we are here. Nobody wants to come here because of the stories and what they have seen about the standard of our education. Nigeria is a country brimming with potential. We are blessed with a useful population. We possess all the ingredients for greatness. But sadly, we promote mediocrity. And more so, if it serves us well, we promote it. And this has far-reaching consequences. We're not encouraging students. We're not a student comes out with first class and he will end up because he couldn't get a job and he wouldn't want to sit and wait for his parents to feed him or her. They would not go and look for one job. Maybe they will. Now they have more ideas of businesses as we're being advised. Some of them are. I used to know a graduate who was a bus conductor. I was on a bus someday, so many years ago. And this young man was Eleyo Shagbero now. He spoke well and everything. So by the time I was about to alight from the bus, I quickly said, did you go to school? He said, yes, ma'am. And then while, he was calling on other passengers to come on board, I said, which school? He said, University of Benin. Dobaton. I said, God is your strength. I just walked it. Waiting and wondering, I'm going to give a job. So, it's not a matter of today. It has been for so long. And the problem we have is that successive leaders will come on board and say, hey, that's why I meet her. If you met it like that, what difference are you about to impact? What difference are you about to make that you'll be remembered by? Because when the structures that should empower the next generation rather stifle their progress, what are we left with? What are we left with? We are left with a generation that is not only frustrated, but also disillusioned with the very concept of leadership. Because there is, see, I can't do much. We have had seminars, we have had series of programs that if all this were put together and implemented, we wouldn't be here discussing the standard of education. We will be saying, so what do we do next? So we cannot remove the leadership of this country from the highest to the least of the councillors in various wards from this educational system and from the level that we are today. The consequences of leadership failures over decades have had a profound detrimental effect on young people. People today will tell you, I mean, why should we be having stories like Olodo, Kiniko Kinikon? Why should there be a struggle between those who went to school and those who didn't go to school? Why should there be a competition? Why should the people who didn't go to school, I'm not denigrating anybody here, but why should people who didn't go to school come back and say that, who are you? Even though I didn't go to school. Look at me.
Especially that education used to be the pinnacle of success. Like it was a big deal to go to school back then. Yes.
Exactly. And for us to come out of the wood, we need leaders who are not capable. I mean, who are not only capable, but they are visionary. They are leaders who can see beyond the limits of tribalism. They are leaders who have
Very well said.
Not come up with their own personal ambition, or what we call the short-termism. You come, you do your thing, you come out, somebody else comes on board. Government is a continuum. Government is a continuum. Leadership is a continuum. You continue with the good project of the previous leadership, and then Nigeria will be a better place. You cannot continue to encourage mediocrity. Somebody will go and be showing part of their bodies on TV, and they will end up with a lot of millions. Somebody will spend years in the university and will come out and still be looking for a job. And then somebody will tell you, if you can't get a job, go and learn how to sew. Then why did I even go to school in the first place?
Yeah.
So we cannot continue to make education look like at least you don't go to school now, at least. No. No. So that is why probably people have been saying it. He's not the first person to say it. People have been saying it that our politicians, they must be consumers of public education. They must enroll their children. And Buki was said that, how would you know? In this Nigeria, if that is a law, they will know if you have children. You don't live in isolation. You don't, even if you live in Banana Island, you are still going to leave your island and come out and do some things. People will know if you do not enroll your children in the schools. So no one is saying it is a crime to send your children abroad. I have children abroad who are schooling. I'm not a politician. What I'm saying is, it's coming from a place of, if you are part of the consumer of a product, you will care about the quality of that product. That is the point that person is trying to make. If your children in public school, my school, when I was in secondary school, the daughter of the late president, the late military president, Murtala Mohammed, was in my school, secondary school. We had the children of some highly placed people. The late politician, late Tunde Braithwaite, his daughter was in my school. So what am I talking about? So what they are suggesting is not new. What they are suggesting is that now that people don't patronize these public schools, they don't care about the standard. They don't care about what it is, the state of the schools. A governor and your daughter is in which school do I call now? Arepo Primary School. And Arepo Primary School will not be upgraded. You cannot be a commissioner and your child is in Ogudu government school, and that school would not be well taken care of, because you're not doing it for the school, you're doing it for your child. So please, I totally believe that because we have been talking and talking and talking, and they're not doing anything. They are doing something. There is no way you have to go to some states and see what they are doing in that sector. But we are saying, on a very general note, every governor must make revamping that sector a front burner issue. Don't do it because you are doing us a favor. No, it is our right. Our children, why would I enroll my child in a school where I'm looking at the fence like this, any moment the fence will fall? Why should I enroll my child in a school where should it rain? We are in rainy season now.
Why worried and concerned?
And there was a time a school collapsed, and thank God that children were not killed. People went to. That was a public school.
Yeah.
It was a public school. You go around some schools, no perimeter fencing.
Yeah.
So you see, all of these things, I know that. Why do we have first class when you're traveling? Who will fly first class? No ordinary person can fly first class unless somebody sponsors your trip. Now, the depth of your pocket not going to make you fly first class. So because you have the money, but because that first class, whether you are on first class, you are economy or business or whatever class, all of you are going to be on board the same plane. That is why attention will be on the safety, on everything about the plane.
All right.
Please, I believe that we need to call the attention of our leaders to this sector because we are dragging our feet concerning the sector. Teachers are not well remunerated. I'm sorry for taking your time, but this is a topic that we should spend 365 days talking about it because we have been talking and talking and talking, and we're not seeing the changes. The level we are talking, the level of discussion that this thing has gotten to. So that is why that family came up to say that. But schools here. But if you go and drop your daughter in a school, first the fence are all cracked. Very soon it will come. Please, you must bring down this fence and erect a better one. It's how things get better.
Yes.
So must enroll your child in that school before you know that that school must be put in the right shape. So this is a challenge to all the governors of the 36 states of Nigeria and the federal capital city and all the commissioners for education. Because when you put your schools at the top-notch standard, the rest for the federal government will be little. Let's do this. It's important.
All right. Nima, wow. I mean, Ibn Abba has touched on so many things, and my brain is just buzzing. Like I said this morning, I'm just hoping that Nigeria will be a better place for us because I'm tired of hoping, but I'm going to try not to give up and continue to hope. But yes, Nima, let's hear you.
Okay, as I was saying the other time, my network is bad, so that was why you were not able to hear me. I think what actor Akah Nnani was trying to say is not that people shouldn't have a choice of where their children should school. He was basically saying that maybe if politicians leave their children here to school, then the education system would be improved because I don't know, I think that was when my network broke. If it was Ibn Abo who said that you can't hold people accountable if they don't know what is going on, like people whose children are not affected by the education system, you can't expect them to know and to feel what is happening. And I don't think this is a matter of telling people what they should and shouldn't do. We are not trying to make choices for people with this. I used to say it too that maybe if our politicians leave their children to school, if politicians leave their children to school here in Nigeria, maybe then they would improve the educational system, especially for public schools. You know, we talked about the jackpot crisis this
Mm-hmm. We did, yeah.
yeah, about the doctors, and I was like, not everybody can afford private schools.
Yes.
So because I said I used to say it. I'm thinking from this point of view of those who can't afford private schools have to go to government schools, yes. And the government is not really bothered by how the schools are. They are not trying to better the structures, the curriculum. So I guess this is just a call, a cry that you people need to pay attention to what is happening here. And every parent wants what's best for their children. If our system was good, if it is very good, maybe then their children would be able to stay. I'm not saying by their children have to school in Nigeria. If everybody has a choice and they have the chance, they will send their they'll
Yeah.
send their children to wherever they want. So that's my submission. They should better the educational system and, like I said during the daily news review, the healthcare system. So people would have choices. People wouldn't have to settle.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, Susan. Before we go, as we are running out of time, in 1 minute, what's your final submission this morning?
Okay, so for me, I still stand on what I said before. The fact is, if we have the right people in leadership, we would not bother where anybody decides to take their children to study. Are we doing the right thing? Many years back, we had all of those things in place and schools were good. People were coming in. Were the politicians not still going outside to study? The answer is no. Let's do the right thing. As a government, whether it's education, transportation, health, whatever sector, let the right things be done and let us hold them accountable. But you and I also know that even if we talk about this policy or law till tomorrow, they will not accept it. So let's say the thing that will address the concern, which is do the right thing in any of these spaces. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Buki. Over to you.
Well, my own stand is very clear. Leadership is about doing what is right at all times. Either you are affected or you are not affected. I stand by the fact that let's hold them accountable. Because you brought up the box and you said people vote for me. There are expectations, and do the right thing. Education standard, let it be top notch. I can decide to send my daughter there or not. But when it's top notch and people are getting to know about it, there was a time UCH, it was the talk of town that people were actually sending, their students, their children here to study.
Yes.
Now we go to the neighboring countries, we go abroad. Why? It is because the people there as leaders did what was right. They loved the nation and they loved the people and they did what was right. That is my own point. Let's do what is right. Let's hold these leaders accountable. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ibn Abba, in 1 minute as well before we go.
I was thinking that I mean, 1 minute.
1 minute or Ibn Abba, 1 minute.
1 minute. 1 minute. The lack of investment in education is not just about physical infrastructure.
Yes.
It's about the failure to create an environment that nurtures creativity, innovation, and critical thinking. So while we are telling them to do the right thing, they must not just concentrate on, okay, say the buildings are dilapidated, we will restructure, we will rebuild.
Yeah.
Just about that. It should be about creativity, innovation, critical thinking. The curriculum we have is outdated. It is ill-suited to the demands of 21st century. So we need all of this to be touched. We need all of this to be recalibrated, everything positively, so that the glory we used to have in those days, as Nigeria had the best of schools, mostly in Africa. We will go back there and begin to compete with the world at large. And I know that we can do it. We only have to be deliberate and intentional about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies. Today was for education, and I'm hoping that I know that they're listening to us. I can tell you that one for sure. I know. I cannot just give you back energies. I know that they listen. I'm hoping that they listen and then they take all of these interventions that we have preferred and solutions that we preferred, and we actually see progress and changes. Once again, thank you so much, ladies, for coming on the program. Tomorrow we see you again at 9:05 for another edition of HerLens. Don't go anywhere. Up next is Ready to Talk. Bye for now.